Thursday, August 17th. A little after 12. One of those excuse to get out of the office type runs. Nothing that was critical, just want to get away from my desk. So I'm going to pick up a box, although the tenant did just call yesterday and ask when it would be removed. It's not like it's a wasted trip or an unnecessary trip. It just didn't have any kind of priority status. So last couple of days I was kind of down a little bit. Unfortunate meeting with a listing agent and kind of took some of the wind out of my sails for a day or so. I've been trying to work my way through it, but coming through yesterday and into today, I've kind of rebounded back to what I want to do and feeling very upbeat about doing it. So, good news. I started scouting out some other locations, came across 2 or 3 more viable spots, and they're geared more. There's a lot of pre-existing mechanical stuff already there. So one of the positive things that I did take from that meeting was trying to find something that was a second generation restaurant, something that has all the existing mechanicals needed to move forward. I did call a plumber, actually called 3 plumbers yesterday to try and get an idea of what was code for grease traps, what would be needed, especially on a smaller venue. And it seems like a small under sink grease trap would work for basically what I want to do. I'd have to confirm that with the city and see what the classification is, how they break that down and determine the size capacity that would need to be needed for a restaurant of the size of what I'm thinking about. Now, I've said it before, I can create a concept and a plan for pretty much any location, and the whole idea was to start off small. 1, because we've got a limited budget to start off with, and 2, I wanted the integrity of what I'm trying to accomplish to carry through. And the larger the concept, the more people that are involved, the more money that it takes, and the more sources of funds that you have to have, you lose some of the control and you lose some of the integrity of the concept, because you have to sacrifice some of that just to make it function. So the more employees you have to have, you have to interview and screen and hopefully get some solid candidates coming through the door. But team building in a restaurant is much like team building in sports. You have to pick the right personalities. You have to pair them together. You have to overlap other people's strengths with other people's weaknesses and build a team that fulfills all of your needs but also fits in your budget. I mean, you had limitless funds. You could just hire all superstars and say, I'm going to pay you this much above and beyond what other people are paying because I want the best of the best to be here. And you can buy an all-star team. You cannot assure that they'll all work well together. As a matter of fact, in my experience, the more of those all-stars you have, the more you are going to get them clashing personality-wise. So you need a good mix of all-stars and leaders, and then some mid-range and some beginners, some novice level, entry-level staff, because you can pay them according to their experience and their background, and So you're adding more into the mix. So the idea again was something very intimate, just my wife, myself, the possibility of maybe another employee or two, maybe even family members, to create an environment that is enjoyable. But it's very restrictive then. I have to find just the right space. It can't be too big, it can't be too small. I have to find just the right price. And the prices are going to vary depending on the area, and I need a certain amount of clientele to make this successful. I need to have a certain price point to make it successful, and I need the demographics of the area to be able to support that price point. I need it to be able to, if it's not immediately accessible from the demographic that I'm looking to market to, I need to make sure that there's a way that they can get there easily, even if they have to come from a distance and not from a destination. There's a lot of factors that are going into this site location process, and I just haven't found anything that really fits the bill for what we're trying to do. Now, the spot that I originally was considering with the food truck commissary, that was a unique concept developed specifically for that spot, and I kind of wish that the zoning would have worked out better on that, because I really liked that idea, and I haven't completely abandoned it, but it's been demoted. It's kicked down farther down that line. So now I'm looking for a place to, again, kind of create this uniquely intimate environment. And I'm having trouble. And I found a couple of more candidates for that. But again, we just came back from a little weekend vacation. Exploring new restaurants, which I really enjoyed. It's one of the things that I like. I love experimenting with new places, new food, new people. It's part of the beauty of that industry, hospitality industry, that is. And it got me really excited about being able to present a concept coming from a creative standpoint, an artistic standpoint, and a philosophical standpoint. I want to try and touch as many people as possible. Now, with my smaller themed concept, it's more intimate, there's more impact from me directly to guests. But I'm starting to feel a draw towards stepping that up a little bit and finding maybe a kind of a mid-range concept where I can still have that intimate interaction, but maybe not. My thing is, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to make a good living at it. I want to build a retirement. I want to build an empire. But I don't want to be there every day. That was part of this idea, part of this Sage Gourmand concept, was one, business development, being self-sufficient, but also not being a slave to that, being imprisoned by that, where you were there every day, every minute. You need to be able to take a week off and take a vacation. You need to be able to indulge in the other things that life has to offer. And I'm having trouble conceptually planning that out. How am I going to make that happen? I mean, if it was really small, intimate, and just us, we could just close for 1 week a quarter and take a vacation. And that is appealing to me, because the idea of leaving somebody behind to run my dream is slightly disturbing to me. It's slightly upsetting. I don't know that I can do it. I don't know if I can. I'm a control freak anyway, so passing that control off and expecting it to be done the way that I want it done while I'm not there bothers me. That's part of the problem with the larger concepts, that you have to have other management. You're going to have to hire somebody that sees your concept for the same value that you see, and needs to be able to, I don't know the best way to go where I'm going here. Probably should have gone up 221. I have never driven to this property, and I have the map in my mind, so I know where I'm going, but I probably should have taken the highway over there. I can get there from this back way, but it'll give me a little more time to talk too. So I have a tendency to generate an idea and obsess about it, latch onto that idea and not see any kind of deviation. What I've been developing over the last month, 2 months since I've actively been trying to make this come about is a little bit more flexibility. Again, I can create a concept to fit a spot. I can create a business plan to support the concept. But it's choosing what level I want this to be. And I'm having more difficulty finding, and I thought it would actually be easier to find a smaller venue and create this kind of minimized concept, more intimate concept. I'm having more difficulty with that. And part of that was, one, I wanted to keep overhead low so that I had more money going into my pocket, and two, I wanted to be sure that I had full control over everything, and I am the key factor in making this a success. But now as I'm shopping and I'm finding some locations that I really like that are not exactly conducive to that concept, and it again gets to the price point, the overhead, the rent is really what I'm getting at here. Some of the locations that I think are ideal for what I'm trying to do are just outside of my budget. I don't want to say it's impossible, it's just less likely. There's more risk involved, the more overhead that I assume when I move forward, and there's going to be more of a necessity for me to be there and really drive this. And not that I'm not going to be there and drive this, but there's just a lot more riding on it. It's going to be successful no matter what. I have no doubt in my mind about that, but I need to find some middle ground. I was really leaning towards, or really drawn toward this small intimate concept. I'm kind of like the idea of having a larger venue. It's a larger stage to perform on, but I don't want to, at least not right now, maybe sometime in the future, because I really did consider the possibility of developing a concept, and like most businessmen, developing a concept and selling it off and starting a new one, creating a product and a value associated with that product, and then profiting off of the sale of that. That is partially a motivator for me. But right now, like I said, I'm seeing these locations that I really like, and I've actually found 3 more that I really like, and they're conducive to kind of what I want to do, but they're going to be a little bit larger. The spaces are larger than what I was originally looking for, and the price point is a little bit higher than what I was looking for, which would mean I would have to develop a concept that would have to be a little bit more dependent on employees, which is again one of the things that I was trying to avoid. not uncommon to just have somebody stop coming to work, but concept is, it's dependent on those employees and having those bodies there, and not just having a body there, but having a qualified body there. So if I go that route, I'm subjecting myself to the possibility of the stresses of having to fill those slots. There's got to have to be a designated number of spaces, positions to be able to operate. And then on top of that, you're going to have to have longer operating hours. Again, one of the concepts would be, or one of the benefits of this intimate concept is it doesn't have to be all the time. We can run only on certain days or limited hours and have just a more of a concentrated connection, which is what I wanted to do. That was what I wanted to have. But it doesn't have to be all the time, day in, day out, all day long. And I just don't want that. So now that I'm shopping at some of these other spots and finding something I'm really drawn to, I'm thinking, all right, well, if I wanted to make a move and have something happen in one of those spots, I would have to develop this, a little bit larger dynamic. More employees, more positions, and as much as I had kind of mentally fought against that, I'm starting to feel myself drawn to that. I'm trying to allow myself a flexibility. I'm trying to not be so rigid on, all right, this is the way I want to have it, and everything has to be this way or no way. So I'm trying to open myself up, especially since I've found some locations that, again, they're just really kind of appealing to me. I'm like, I would really like to do something like this in that spot, or this spot maybe something more like this. And so I'm not trying to compromise my standards. I'm just trying to maybe compromise my desires. Like, well, this is a trade-off. I can do this if I do this with it. And maybe it wasn't exactly what I was planning on doing when I set out on this path a few months ago, but it's the reality of creating a business. And it's understanding all those dynamics and all those variables and trying to orchestrate them in a way that brings your dream to life. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to manifest a dream. This has been my dream for as long as I can remember, early teen years. So I'm just not sure what's going to happen next. I reached out to a listing agent yesterday for a spot that I was drawn to, and I haven't gotten any kind of response back. I found another spot that I really liked as well, which is just a little bit different than the one I saw yesterday, but it's the same listing agent. So the fact that I haven't gotten a response bothers me. That's the kind of stuff that sets me off, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'll just move on. I'll find something else. And I'm kind of conflicted because I really like both of those locations and think that they have some potential for what I am considering doing. And part of me, from an ego standpoint, is, all right, like, hey, if I don't hear back from this guy by such and such time, then we're done. I'm closing that door, and we're not going to just a lot of stuff going on. I found another spot. I actually looked at it a couple of days ago and was kind of drawn to it, and I just kind of made a mental note of it and moved on. But I went back and I looked at it again today, and I really like it. There was a lot of things that appealed to me for this spot that I was looking at today, and it's a different listing agent, and I am considering reaching out to her to see if I can get down there and take a look at this spot. Here we go. And I called 3 plumbers because one of the things, like I said, I was considering trying to find a completely clean slate that's never had a restaurant in there, and saying, all right, well, I'm going to make this a restaurant. And I was weighing out the cost of, the build out and upfront costs in exchange for a much lower rental amount, and that was kind of what I was meeting with the other day when I had my not so fantastic interaction, is because that's what I was looking for, is a very low rental amount, but it was going to require a lot more up front. And again, I think the numbers he was shooting out were not very, maybe in his world they're realistic, but I definitely can think it can be done much less than what he was quoting. And that's why I called around, and I was like, tried to get an idea of what it was going to take. Because the grease trap, I think, is going to be one of the biggest factors in a situation like that. But based on the size of my concept, I might not need something as big. But anyway, so I'm still doing what I've been doing, and that's researching, trying to find the perfect situation, perfect for me, something that's going to fit all of my needs without me sacrificing any of my ideals. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And again, I've kind of had this renewed excitement, and it just, as I was leaving the office today, I had been looking at a couple of those properties. I'm like, I can make this work no matter what. I may need to just expand, and I may need to be able to pull off the environment that I want to pull off with the flexibility that I want with it. I may have to give up some of the control. I may have to have. Ultimately, I'm the one in charge, and I would have management staff that serves under me, and it's my show still. But again, I just don't like the idea of having to put too much faith and trust in individuals, especially that I don't know. And living here, I don't know anybody in this industry. Coming from the Quad Cities, I worked in the restaurant industry for nearly 20 years. I knew a lot of people in the area, and I had some that I enjoyed working with and I trusted, and a high percentage that I thought were worthless, which is why we moved from that area when we were like, let's open a restaurant, let's go somewhere, because we thought the employment pool there was just too shallow for what we were looking for, and I thought we would fare better if we had to hire employees in an area like this. Although I've seen some pretty bad employees just dining out here, and anyway, not important. So I don't know. I'm weighing all those options. Still exploring all those factors, but I did recover from, like I said, kind of having the wind taken from my sails the other day, and I'm back up and living at the level that I feel good at, and gotta make something happen. And I felt like I needed to do this now, and I woke up today with feeling a little more for freedom. Like I've got some time. I don't have to do this now. I don't need to walk out of property management door tomorrow and start something fresh. I've got some time. We're getting into the slower season, but I'm making things happen. I don't want to procrastinate too much. I don't want to stall. I don't want to, especially if it's out of fear, because then you just don't make any of the progress that you could be making. So I want to keep aggressively pushing it, but I don't want to let the timeline motivate me. All right, well, I have to do this, so I have to make this choice today, and then make a choice that isn't necessarily the best for what I'm trying to do. So all in all, just in a good spot, period.